Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our webinar session. This is for anyone who is serving either at the South or the North event or even both events. And this is for the general team. So basically anyone who's not doing stewarding. My name is Natalie and I am the team coordinator for Big Church Day Out. And I'd like to introduce you to Chris. Hi, Chris.
Hi, everybody.
And Chris is our stewarding team leader this year, but he's also going to be sharing some important information a little bit later on in the webinar about team values and working together. So we'll see you in a bit, Chris.
Thank you very much.
So this webinar is basically for anyone on team to tell you a bit more information about being on team, what to expect when you arrive, and just any kind of questions that you might have that hopefully we can answer for you tonight. So we're going to get straight into it because we've got a lot to go through. Also, just be aware that there is a chat and a Q&A box on your screen, so you can ask questions throughout the webinar, and at the end I'm going to do a live Q&A with you just to go through any questions that you might have that might benefit everyone. Also be aware that this is general training, so a lot of it will be around the general volunteer offer, but I know for some of you there's some different team who might be joining us tonight and some things might not be relevant to you, so just be aware that if there's some things that are new that we're sharing and you didn't realise that's the way it was happening. This is a general volunteer webinar, so some things might not necessarily relate directly to you. Excuse me. So first of all, I'm just going to start by playing a video by our Health and Safety Officer, Becky. So take a watch.
Hello, I'm Becky Stevens. I'm the Health and Safety Officer for this event. Thank you so much for all your help and everything you're doing. I'm going to take you through a few health and safety pointers to help you keep safe and to help us keep the event safe. First of all is your own personal protection. Please make sure that you wear the right shoes, have earplugs if necessary, bring sun cream, waterproof trousers, gloves, depending on your role. You need to look after yourself first and foremost before we can look after everybody else. Secondly is manual handling. It's very important that you bend your knees when you're lifting. Don't lift items that are too heavy. Don't try to carry items that are too heavy too far, and use trolleys or any other vehicles, and use other people to assist you when lifting and carrying. We also need to be careful about driving on site. It's a field and people do forget and they like to zoom around. It's quite important to go at 5 miles an hour. Please don't use your hazard lights. Please use your indicators so people know which direction you're travelling in. Please go slowly and be aware of your surroundings. Fire safety is really important to us at the event. There are a number of fire extinguishers around the site. If you see a fire, you must report it immediately. Please do not tackle a fire if you are not trained to use a fire extinguisher. Report it in and we will send a member of our team down immediately to deal with it. All fires on site must be reported and we will look into them. First aid. You must report any instances or near misses into event control. It's really important to us that we know what's happened across the site and we may be building up a pattern of incidents. There's a medical team on the event site all times, and if you radio into event control, the medical team will be sent out to you. Please, please look after yourself. Please don't try to assist anyone that you don't feel comfortable doing. You are my eyes and ears around the event site. My safety team can't be everywhere. So if you see anything that concerns you, please report it in and we will come and investigate it. That's from anything from a build-up of rubbish to perhaps a small incident somewhere you're not sure about, a tent or any area like that. It's really important to me that you feel comfortable to come and tell us what's going on. Thank you so much for all your help and we can't do it without you.
Brilliant. Thanks, Becky. Now I'm going to move on to control, and this is Tim Kerr telling you a little bit more about what control are doing. Sorry, 1 second, little technical error. Where are we? Okay, let's give it a go.
Hi there, my name's Tim Kerr, and first of all, let me thank you for being part of the Big Church Day Out team. We're delighted that you're going to be joining us at the event.
I'm here to talk to you about the role of event control at Big Church Day Out, both at Wiston and also at Capesthorne Hall. Basically, you can sum up the job of control very simply, and it's this: to make sure that we have a safe and fun event. The control team is very small and will be based in a tent on site, and you'll be able to find the location of that when you eventually get to see your map. And our job, very simply, is to monitor what's going on site and to act as a point of liaison with the authorities if necessary, and also to liaise between teams in different parts of the site and across different radio channels in the event of any issues going on. So if you're on site and you think that there's something that you need to tell control about, your first port of call is to talk to your own team leader or someone near you with a radio. They then can discuss with you the issue that you think that you've got, and it's at that point that you would then perhaps make the decision to come through to control if you can't resolve it yourselves. If you need to talk to control, just remember this little mnemonic: not having fun, go to channel 1. So flip your radio through to channel 1 and then contact control. Control, this is, and your name, and we'll be there to support and help you. Once you've finished speaking with us and we've relayed instructions to you, we will probably ask you to go back to the channel that you're normally supposed to be on, but if you could remember to do that yourselves as well, that would be very, very helpful. If you've got a general information request, then your port of call there is to go through to the information point, which will be near the team hub. And again, you'll be able to find the precise location of that on the map. Your team leaders will give you an awful lot of briefing information before you go on your first shift, and will be available to support you with general information requests. But if you do get really, really stuck, you can come through on channel 1 to ask us. We would, however, please ask you to keep general information requests to a minimum, because we're really there to monitor safety issues and anything that might require the attendance of the services. Thanks very much for listening. It just remains for me to say that we support you 110% in everything that you do, and we will back up any decisions you make. So enjoy yourselves, have fun, and look forward to seeing you on site, either at North or South.
Great. Lovely Tim Kerr there. And finally, I'm going to introduce you to Caroline, who's going to talk a little bit more about safeguarding and what you need to do if you come across a safeguarding issue on site.
Okay, my name's Caroline Adams. I'm part of the safeguarding team at Big Church Day Out. So that leaves us with the question: what is safeguarding? Safeguarding is all about protecting the vulnerable. And when is someone vulnerable? Well, any of us can be vulnerable at any point for various reasons. And that basically means that somebody is not able to make good choices about their own safety, and that they might need help with that. So, as part of the team at Big Church Day Out, vulnerability and safeguarding is everybody's responsibility. You're part of the team, you're part of helping us keep the event safe and keep all people safe on site. If you are told of somebody who's upset for any reason, see what you can do to help. And if you're worried about anybody, then call it in through the stewards, through the control, to the safeguarding team, and we will come and help you. Last couple of years, it's mainly been lost children and lost parents. Clearly that's really upsetting for the children and the parents, but it's a really safe site. So hold on to them, call us, and we will reunite them with their party as soon as we can. The other part of safeguarding is making sure that the site is safe from anybody who may come onto site with any kind of intention that we're not happy about. So if you see somebody doing anything that you think that's a bit odd, I'm not happy about that, whether it might be taking photos of children, doing anything that causes you concern, then please report it. You're the ears and eyes around the site, and we need to know. We need to keep the event as safe as possible for everybody. So help us keep it safe.
Great. Hopefully you can all hear me okay. Excellent. So hopefully that was really helpful for you. So next I'm going to introduce Chris. Chris, are you available? Are you there?
I'm here.
Here he comes.
Hello.
Hi. Chris, thanks so much for sharing with us tonight. Take it away. Why don't you tell a little bit, everyone a little bit more about yourself and what you do? Yeah.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you. So hi guys, thank you so much indeed for taking the time to come onto this webinar. Firstly, can I just say to all of you, thank you so much for volunteering. Whatever role that you're going to be performing during Big Church Day Out, we value it greatly. We value you greatly, and we want to make sure that there are some just some tips and ideas to get you thinking about what's possible and in terms of how we can host really well. So I'm just going to bring up a little presentation. I know how much you're drawn to my lovely bald head and things like that, so I'm going to disappear out of the equation. Turn my microphone on, and hopefully all is well. So first and foremost, the purpose of team at Big Church Day Out is to help facilitate a positive, great experience for everybody. So that is really the foremost desire that we have, is to create an atmosphere and also a culture that is going to make a real difference to people and their experience. So as a presence around the whole site, we have the capacity, the capability, and I believe also responsibility for setting that atmosphere and culture to enable people to enjoy themselves. And there's some key things that I would just encourage you to consider. And the first one is communication. If we're going to work well as a team, we need to communicate well. We need to communicate effectively. There were some studies a long time ago, back in the 60s, that said that most of our communication is non-verbal, that other people take on first and foremost. Up to 55% of our communication comes from our body language. The things that we're not saying is more of what we're doing. So we really want to encourage you to get your communication really, really positive. How you're standing, how you're walking, how you're promenading around, gallivanting around, whatever it might be. We want to make sure that we're communicating the right messages to people. We want to make sure that you're communicating well as a team, be it over the radio, as we've heard from some of the other contributors, be it with flags, be it at a distance. Particularly if we're tired and we've been on shift or the weather's not as great as we hope that it will be, then communication is something that really needs to be delivered well. And we will continue to do kind of some ideas on how we can communicate effectively. And if you have any ideas yourselves, we'd love to hear those things too. The second thing I'd like to just get you to think about is ownership. Whether it's, whether you're in the areas around the main venues, be it the main stage or the tea tent, or in any of the vendors marketplaces or anything along those lines, we really want you to take ownership of what it is that you're doing, take responsibility for those things that you're doing, and really make sure that that it's something that is the ownership that you're taking is something that really adds value to people's experience. By taking ownership, you're also honouring each other. So things which I'm going to come on to in a minute around kind of making sure you're there on time for your shift, making sure that you're honouring the agreements that Natalie will go through in terms of shift patterns and things like that, perhaps a bit later on. Equally, most importantly as well, out of those three, I would say, is have fun. If we're doing the other two well, we should be able to have fun. And I think has been said before, if we're having fun, then other people are likely to also be having fun as well. So we want you to enjoy it. We want you to come away saying what a great experience it was working on team if this is your first time, or that was so much better even than last year, and I never even thought that that would be possible if you've been on team before. Just moving on to the next slide. The purpose of Team at Big Church Day Out is to facilitate a positive experience for all. It's a theme we'd really encourage you to consider. We are the face of the event. People will likely to engage with you in many cases more than perhaps anybody else. And it might be when they're at their most tired. It might be when they're at their most vulnerable. It might be when they are at their most excitable as well. So there's three key things in terms of our behaviours that we'd really like to, again, get you just to think about how you can deliver these when you're working and participating within the Big Church Day Out team. So the first is hospitality. We believe in hosting people really well, being generous with our hospitality and with our time. It's something you're doing by volunteering for Big Church Day Out. So we want to make sure that we're hospitable to all those that come into contact with us. So hospitality is going to play a key part of our team ethic and the team behaviour. And think about how that can communicate itself through within the team as well as to our guests and visitors and anybody else that you might interact with. The second point there is empathy. I've said on a couple of webinars that was a fragrance that I bought for my wife at Christmas, but that's not the empathy that we're talking about. We're talking about getting into the other person's shoes, not literally, but metaphorically, really taking time to understand the other party, understand the person, what they're trying to communicate to you. Perhaps maybe it's a team colleague that's got an issue or a challenge or an opportunity that they want to get some support with. Just take time to be empathic with them, listen to understand. So empathy is, again, a real key part of team and how we can successfully navigate being team and doing team really well. The final point there is flexibility. If you've been on team before in any capacity, you'll know that flexibility is a real key skill and also something that we really ask you to demonstrate. There may be times where we're asking you to go to a different venue. It may be that the footfall in a particular place is much higher than perhaps anticipated and people need support and assistance. It could be all sorts of reasons, but we would really encourage your flexibility. Again, that flexibility demonstrates real great team ownership. It also allows us to recognise that there's a need to be flexible, and this is not a personal thing about we need you to go here and not be watching Rend Collective in the beautiful glorious sunshine on the main stage, but to go and man the toilets where there's been a major leak. That's because possibly and more likely we think you're probably far better equipped to be able to support that with your skills, the behaviours and the reasons that you've been obviously chosen within the Big Church Day Out team. Just moving on as well, time. There's three key things in time that I'd ask you to consider. So just a second paragraph down, for the event to run smoothly outwardly, things need to run even smoother behind the scenes. It's fair to say there is a huge team of people. Well, actually, it's a tiny group of people for most of the year, and then it turns into a massive group of people that are putting on the Big Church Day Out. We couldn't, as we've said before, we couldn't do this without your help. So there's three key things that really will help us gel as a team, work well as a team, and make sure that we can deliver as a team in the way that we would be desiring. And the first one is about being on time. This is a practical thing, but also really important in terms of punctuality. Lots of different shift changes, but lots of venues opening, different times perhaps than last year, different venues perhaps as well. So we really encourage you to make sure that punctuality is one of those behaviours that you really demonstrate. Recognise where you've got to be before time. Make sure that you know where it is located-wise. As will be described and has already been explained, there are lots of changes from last year. So it doesn't necessarily mean that where it was last year is where it's going to be this time around. We'd also like you, in terms of being on time, to recognise that locations, as I said, have changed. So make sure that you are there with plenty of time, which is honouring to your team, honouring to the leader, and also says that you're taking ownership and responsibility for the role that you're having. The second time is take time. So we'd ask you to take time to listen well to other people. Really take time to understand the customers, the guests, the artists, whoever it is that you're having conversations with, and obviously each other. Make sure that there's real connection between the team so that we can operate as one team as we move forwards. The other part of taking time just to get to know people, there are probably many people, several of you I would imagine on this call, who have been part of Big Church Day Out for several years, and you have gained really fine, fantastic network of friends, some which are probably likely to be lifelong. So we really want to give you the opportunity to build relationships, and that in itself will help you work well as a team. And the final time is in time. There's so many things that have to come together into one aspect over this big church weekend. And so we really want to make sure that we are, as hosts, as team, we're in time. It's a bit cheesy, but it's with a heartbeat of Big Church Day Out. That thing which is around making sure that we're there to facilitate a positive and a great experience for all. So we want to make sure that as a team we're able to honour with great hospitality, in whatever that is, that you have, if you're free, if you're aware of the terminology, that you're able to love on other people. You're able to really demonstrate kingdom values there. And as I said, line up with the heartbeat of Big Church Day Out. My final slide is just to give you a bit of a summary, really. So the purpose of hosting as team at Big Church Day Out in whatever capacity is about that positive experience. We want to talk about service excellence, not just about customer service, about what's expected. You know, kingdom values would be about going above and beyond. So most experiences will be positive, but there may well be some that are challenging. And we also want to recognize that all of those experiences and those moments are opportunities for people to form an impression. And we want to make sure that we are aware and in charge of what that impression is that people are left with and that they're making. So just some simple tips. We're going to ask you to really listen to each other and really show that you're listening, not just by your body language, by your nodding and agreement, but maybe by clarifying and asking them to repeat, various things like that. Think about your open questions. If you're interacting with somebody and you want to get to the heart of what it is that their issue is or whatever, an open question is far more well-placed and likely to give you a greater outcome than lots of closed questions. So think about the who, the what, the where, the why, the how, those types of questions. It's been said before, but smile. Smile says so much about how much you are enjoying it and how much you want to be there. Even when it's really wet and raining and you're tired at the end of the shift, that smile can speak so many volumes. Make eye contact. I believe we're going to have loads of sunshine this year. So you might all be wearing sunnies. You might be wearing your sunglasses. So just simply moving your sunglasses on top of your head and making that eye contact can make a huge difference. If you get an opportunity to use the person's name, we'd encourage you to do that if it's a longer interaction, so that it becomes more personal connection. And again, all the way through, we'd encourage you to show respect. The last 2 points are very straightforward, but really impactful. We'd encourage you very much to think about using positive language. So avoiding things like, unfortunately, we can't help you, that's not my job, those things. And really focus on what you can do, telling the guests and your colleagues what it is you can do, what is possible. So really think about those positive vocabulary and language that you can use. And last but by no means least, get other people involved. We are a team at the end of the day. We've got all sorts of people that are accountable and responsible. You have a line of hierarchy that are there to support you, as has been said all the way through. And we would love to support you in whatever capacity is necessary. So thank you so much for taking the time to be on this. I'm going to hand back now to Natalie. And thank you very much indeed. And I look forward to seeing you at the Big Church Day Out. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Chris. That was awesome. Brilliant. So we're going to move on. I'm going to go through some of the practicalities of arriving on site and what to expect when you get onto site, and just, all the general information that I think you've been wanting to hear and know. So first of all, if you're arriving in the south event, you will need to come through the east gate. If you're coming to the north event, then you will need to arrive through the north gate. That is if you are driving. If you are coming any other way, so for example, if you are being dropped off, then you can still come through either the north or the east gate and get dropped off at the top of the trackway, or if you are coming on the shuttle bus, that will actually take you to the other side of the site at both events, so in the campsite. And then what you will need to do is show your gate pass to the ticket gates and walk over to the team area and the team registration. So in both the south and the north, when you go through the gates that you're supposed to go through, you will stop at accreditation. Now, we've been working really hard on accreditation this year, and that basically means that everyone will need to stop at accreditation, whether this is your first year or 10th year with us. And you will need to give your name, and you will also need to show your gate pass and your vehicle pass that will be sent to you before you arrive on site. Then, if you're part of the general volunteering, you will need to come down to the team registration, where we will check you in and give you your wristbands, etc. In the south, please be aware that the team registration has moved, so it's now at the bottom of the trackway rather than outside the team hub. The team hub is still in the same area in both the south and the north, and that's where you get your food and your refreshments and all that jazz. But the team registration in the south has moved, and it is at the bottom of the trackway. Please be aware that we ask you to arrive on site from 4 p.m. either on Thursday in the south or Wednesday in the north, unless it has been arranged otherwise, or unless you are on the setup team. If you're part of the general serving, please make sure that you arrive after these times, because the site is under construction, and for health and safety reasons, we can't allow you to come in any earlier. Please be aware that if you have applied for our online system on PAM, that if you are late for your shifts, or you do arrive any later than what you're supposed to, then there is a small chance that you might be charged. So please make sure that you arrive on time, or let us know if for any reason you can't make the event. If you are attending with friends and family, that's great, and you're welcome to either stay in the main campsite, or they're welcome to stay with you in the team campsite, but they must show that they have purchased an event ticket or a camping ticket, unless it has been stated otherwise to you. So please make sure that they bring that along with them. Please be aware that for everyone, friends and family are not allowed in the team hub. It's strictly for team only. So also please make sure that you don't bring any dependent children with you. Please make sure there's someone to look after them when you're on site, when you're on shift as well. We can't allow children to be on shift with you. That's really for insurance purposes, and also your children or family members or friends can't be in the team hub unless they're on team. So, just some local information. For the south, the nearest station is Shoreham-on-Sea, and in the north, the nearest train station is Macclesfield. At both sites, we have shuttle buses running, so you're welcome to have a look on our website and see our shuttle bus timings if you need to get the shuttle bus to site. Also, we have something called Lift Share, which is something we've set up for all guests coming to the event to be able to organise lifts. But also, if you're not part of our team Facebook group, then please sign up to that, because that's also another way to arrange lifts to and from the site if needed. So regarding your shift over the weekend, if you have signed up as part of the general Big Church Day Out volunteering team, then this applies to you. So we do ask that you arrive 30 minutes before your shift is due to start, again, unless you've been told otherwise. It's really important that you meet your team leaders at this time, because it just means that they can brief you, tell you everything you need to know, and it just gives us enough time to get everything ready before your shift is due to start. In regards to shift and working patterns, we ask that you do 2 8 to 10 hour shifts over the weekends. Again, unless stated otherwise, that's what you'll be asked to do. And this could be a full 8 to 10 hour shift all at one go, or it could be split between 4 hours in the morning and 4 hours in the evening. Also, we are giving we do have briefing cards. So just get my little slide up for you. That looks like this. So you'll be given these on arrival, and we will complete these for you. these must be given in at the end of every shift to your team leader for them to hole punch. Then you must come to the team registration and show us that your briefing card has been hole punched, and then on our system we will check you in that you have completed that shift. It is double-sided, so you've got one for each shift. This is really important, because if you do not check in with us, if you do not get this hole punch and show us either at the end of your shift or the end of the weekend, then there is a possibility that you will be charged. So we have to make sure that we have checked on our system that you've completed your shift. Now, this is for anyone who signed up on PAM, and you will know if you've signed up on PAM because you would have put in your card details. If you didn't put your card details in on a system, then just ignore this information. But this is for anyone who has signed up through our online system. So please make sure that these get stamped after your shift and you hand them in to us at the team registration. Just in regards to shifts and timings, these will be sent out to you a week before you arrive on site. And also, we do ask that you arrive the day before your shift is due to start. So we don't normally change the days that you've chosen on your application. So if you've chosen to work Friday and Saturday, for example, we expect you to be there on Thursday, and we wouldn't normally change your day to Saturday, for example, to a Saturday and Sunday without informing you first. So please make sure that whatever you've got on your profile, on your team application, are the days that you're going to be serving. So please make sure you arrive the day before. If you do arrive on the day or late, then there is a possibility that we'll cancel your place, and then you'll be charged on your card. So over the weekend, we asked that you attend 2 specific briefings. So you've got your role-specific briefing, which I've already spoken to you about, which is the one that you attend 30 minutes before your shift. And then the second one is an all-team briefing that we ask everyone to try and attend. That's in the Team Hub. So in the North, it will start on Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. and Thursday and Friday at 9 a.m. and 8:30 p.m. And in the South, it will be Thursday at 8:30 p.m. and then Friday and Saturday at 9 a.m. or 8:30 p.m. in the evening. We only ask that you attend one over the weekend, but if you want to come to all of them, then you're more than welcome. It's a great chance for you to meet other team members and for us to just go through some practical information that you might need to know when you arrive on site. So what do you need to bring? When you come to site, you will need to bring all your camping equipment. We are providing you with a camping pitch only. So you will need to bring your tent, your sleeping bag, your pumps for your beds, your towels, toilet roll, anything like that you need for camping, please bring it with you. We will provide camping facilities, for example, showers and toilets, but you must bring everything else with you. If for any reason you forget things, and that does happen, we do have a campsite shop on site where you can buy items on site. Please make sure you bring sensible clothing for all types of weather. So that's wet weather, hot weather, and make sure that, you have comfortable clothing, especially when you're on shift. You're welcome to bring money with you. If you want to buy something from our merch tent or you'd like to buy food, that is completely optional, and there are cash machines on site. In the South only, for some of you, you might have chosen to do indoor camping at Dalesdown. So that should have been booked online already. If you haven't done that, then just email team@bigchurchout.com or go to the website, click on the team page and the accommodation page, and you can book that. You will need a car to get there. And again, you'll need to bring all your camping equipment, apart from a tent, obviously, because you'll be camping indoors. In regards to food and drink, we do feed you on the days that you serve only, and that will be a lunch and a dinner. We don't provide breakfast, but we do have breakfast facilities that you can use on site. So we have a food van that does breakfast, or we also have items in the Team Hub, for example, toasters and microwaves and hot water. So if you did want to bring breakfast items to heat up, then you can use the the team hub to do that. Like I said, we do provide lunch and dinner, and lunches, packed lunches, so that you can take them away with you on shift. So for example, if your shift is 11 a.m. till 7 p.m. in the evening, it would make more sense for you to take your lunch before you go on shift, so that you're not having to walk all the way back to the team hub to collect that. Unfortunately, dinner is hot food, so you will have to have that in the team hub, but your team leaders will let you know when you can go for lunch and dinner. In regards to lunch and dinner timings, we do them in 45-minute sittings. Please take note of dinner, maybe more than lunch, but dinner, we have to serve a lot of people in the hub. So we do ask that you stick to the timings that are given to you, and you stick to the 45-minute sittings, so that we can get everyone fed in enough time. So, new for this year, I'm very excited to announce that we are attempting to go plastic free, and by 2019 our vision is to go completely plastic free on site. But this year it starts with you, so we are giving all team and all artists refillable bottles, which is super exciting. Amazingly, CAP, Christians Against Poverty, have offered to give us all the refillable bottles free of charge, and they're going to give you all one when you arrive for free, which is super exciting. They're also going to be around in the team hub, so please talk to them over the weekend, encourage them. They're doing a fantastic job. We really believe in sustainability, we really believe in our environment, and we want to start at Big Church Day Out by really helping that. So we really hope that this is a good start, but as we say, by 2019 we want to make it completely plastic free. But yeah, it starts with you, so there'll be extra water points across the site and backstage, so that you can refill your bottles as and when over the weekend. So that's really exciting. Other information is in the team hub. There is power points so that you can charge your mobile phones. Please be aware that signal is very limited on our sites. North is much better than the south for phone access, but please don't rely on this, because sometimes it doesn't actually work. Internet, we don't have any internet on site, so again, please don't rely on this. We do give you an emergency number so you can give out to family and friends if they do need to get in touch with you. For some of you, you'll be asked to wear a nice red team t-shirt. Please wear that when you're on shift, and for others you might be asked to wear high-vis jackets. Again, please make sure you wear these when you are on shift with us. If you are a first aider, please can you send through your documentation ASAP to team@bigchurchdayout.com if you haven't already uploaded it to your profile. And please be aware that we ask anyone who's willing to do first aid over the weekend, they must have sent us that documentation for it to be under our insurance, so that's really important. Lost and found property, if this does happen, if someone does hand anything into you, you do find it, please send it or hand it into the information point. That is where that all goes. The site layout has changed a little bit this year. South is very similar to last year. However, we have moved the Fate over to the Kingdom Come area, and the North has completely changed. So we'll be sending you site maps before you get to site. So if you have been to the events before, please take a look at these, because they have changed. Team camping in the North is now in front of the house, not round the back of the production area. So just please take this into account and read all the signage when you come to site, so you know exactly where you are going. And finally, we know that there's a lot of information to take in tonight, so we really appreciate it. Please try and take in as much as you can, but we're going to be sending you out lots of information before you get onto site, including handbooks. We're going to send you a health and safety and safeguarding form that you will need to complete and sign before you get to site, and then we'll be sending you your gate and vehicle passes, and these must be completed before you get to site, and these get you onto our site. So please make sure that you're fully prepared to come to the event, and just read through some of the emails that we might send to you. But apart from that, that is pretty much it from myself and Chris tonight. I know we've said it a lot, but we thank you. We just can't thank you enough. Thank you so much for being part of the event. It is our 10th year anniversary for the South this year, which is so exciting. And we are so pleased that you can join us on our journey. And so thank you. If this is your first year, if this is your 5th year, if this is your 10th year, we just can't thank you enough. So yeah, thanks again. Thanks for giving up your evening. If you have got any more questions, feel free to write them on the Q&A. I'm going to stay on for another 10 minutes or so and answer them for you, or feel free to write them on the chat and I can reply. But for those of you who feel like you've got the information that you need, feel free to go, and I can't wait to see you on site. But for those who've got more questions, feel free to stay on and I will answer them for you in a minute. I will turn my camera off, but I will answer them. I'll make sure my microphone's left on. So thank you so much, guys. God bless and have a good rest of your evening. Thank you.